Hey everybody, we're back today with a video that I've been wanting to talk about for quite a while because not everyone necessarily has a property or a backyard or any type of space really to do some gardening outdoors. And I wanted to address and offer some solutions to those of you who might not have access to property or even a patio like we have here where we can grow all of our potted plants outdoors with full natural sun exposure. So maybe this is you. Maybe you have a small patio, maybe you don't have a patio at all, maybe you're just in that time of your life where you're renting and you don't have something permanent of your own. And that's perfectly okay. That's where we are too. And a lot of the areas where we grow our plants, we don't actually own them. So everything is being leased right now, but we come up with creative solutions for these situations so we can keep on growing all the plants that we love. So the first one, as you can see out here, this is actually set up because it's a little bit colder right now. We're starting to feel that fall and winter weather kick into effect, and we have a lot of more tender plants. We have some citrus, some passion fruit, some dragon fruit, a lot of stuff that while some of these plants can handle below freezing, we still want to keep them protected just in case, and so it's not too much hassle when it gets even colder than this. But if you have a patio, or technically even you can do this in an indoor space if you're willing to dedicate the area to it, but they sell these pop-up greenhouses that literally just pop up. There's hardly any assembly required. You just put in some kind of cross-beam supports at the top here, and then pop it open, and you can tie it to the sides. But this is something you can actually set up indoors in an empty room or a room where you have a little bit more space, and you can fit a fair bit of plants in these. I believe the one we have is 5 feet by 5 feet here, and we have all of the plants from our patio stored in here. We just left out the figs and the grapevines that we run along the fence there. But as you can see, they're all nice and cozy in here. We were able to fit everything and still have some leftover room where I also have a heat mat set up with our little propagation box here. And that's where a lot of our citrus cuttings are being started right now and kept in a warmer kind of environment. So everything's hooked up on timers, and you can see here I even have a supplementary grow light, which I was able to hook to the top of this just with a couple clips up there and run that wire off to the side, and that is set up with an outdoor switch. So this will turn it on during the daytime, which will help keep this even warmer during the day once we get those winter temperatures, and give it just a little bit more light that the greenhouse might be blocking. And then the other timer is set up for our heat mat here. And eventually we're going to have this set up also for a small portable heater, which will just give us even more warmth in the winter time. It's literally just this tiny little office heater to keep you warm while you're working, but I found it was sufficient to keep the temperatures here pretty good, at least above 30, if not above 40, which is great for everything in here. But you can see there's a lot going on. The dragon fruit is growing happy. We're trying to train it there on our bamboo and wood support. And we have a nice little passion fruit there, which is continuing to bloom inside here as well, which is awesome. We have our lime quat, which is always producing more. And we do have some more hardy stuff that I just put in here for the heck of it. We have some yuzu, some prog, some Australian finger lime. We have some citramelo and citrandrons, and a citramelo being regrafted, kumquats, Meyer lemon, pink lemon, and so forth, even some dwarf pomegranate. But this isn't so much about our little collection in here, but more so about what we're able to grow in just a little 5 by 5 space in this greenhouse. So just imagine, maybe you're not into fruit trees as much, maybe you're a vegetable gardener. You can fit a lot of tomatoes, herbs, you can even grow some dwarf watermelon or some dwarf squash in here perfectly fine and have a very nice little vegetable garden. You could even hang some stuff off the sides and do very well. But keep in mind, this would be perfect for a small patio or even an indoor space if you have that kind of space. Now, the question is, what if you don't even have the kind of space to pop up a greenhouse in the middle of an office or a living room or something like that? And I understand that, so we also have this solution here. Now, this box is already, I want to say it's approaching 3 years old. I could be off on that, maybe it's 2 years old. But basically, I've had this for a couple years already. And when I first built this, it was actually to help me propagate citrus seedlings for our nursery, give them a little head start in the winter. And ever since then, I've been able to use this in a lot of different ways to kind of adapt my approach to gardening here. So basically, this is, I like to call it like a mini greenhouse or like a greenhouse storage bin. It is just a storage bin that's been modified to be able to grow things in it. So as you can see here, we will take off the top, and it is lined with these grow lights. These are AC infinity lights. I found them originally online. I think these were off of eBay, but you could get them on Amazon or even their website. I want to say they're $70 for the set, and they're really good quality lights. I wanted nice full spectrum lights that would grow things very well and also work in this particular situation where I could just kind of clip them to the top perfectly in line like this. Now, there's a lot of other good options. You don't have to get these lights specifically, but I can link these if you're interested. These are the specific lights I used, and I got a lot of good luck growing these, especially with leafy greens and different herbs and vegetables, but these also worked good for seedling stage plants that were able to fit in this space. So now this actual space itself has been modified. Now, it does just have a normal plastic bottom, which I have done multiple approaches. I've had plants in pots in here, and I've also filled this up maybe the first 4 inches or so with growing medium. So coconut coir, potting mix, different things like that. You can use those substrates and then just grow your plants in the box. And I drilled holes to help control the humidity until I got it to my liking, because it can get a little humid in these, and depending on your electronics, it can mess with things, or it can create disease issues with your plants. So I made sure we had good ventilation, we had a good sterile growing medium, and you could very easily grow herbs, micro dwarf tomatoes, things like that in here that don't take up a lot of real estate. And just imagine in this one box alone, which is maybe 2 feet by 3 feet, probably less than that actually, you could fit a couple micro dwarf tomatoes, some rosemary, some basil, maybe a little oregano or something like that, and there you go. You have a little kitchen garden that you can store away in your closet. And that's exactly where we would put these things, is we'd have it in a closet or in our laundry room, somewhere tucked away, and we could keep on growing. But I did modify it at some point. I didn't just have to grow plants in medium in here or plants in pots. I could also grow plants hydroponically. So I would fill this with water up until that line you see, and this would be floating on top of that water, and in that water there would be nutrient solution mixed in here. So a master blend, something like that, where it has all the nutrients a vegetable plant would need. This would float to the top. There'd be little plastic inserts where I'd put cotton balls, and I'd put the vegetable seeds in there, and we'd grow some really great lettuce in here. And you could see I was able to support up to 12 plants in here. So I could have 12 heads of lettuce, 12 basil plants, whatever you wanted. It has a really good capacity. And for the price of making this, say it's $20 for the bin, $70 for this, and that must have been $5 or so for the piece of foam. Probably comparable to one of those nice tabletop hydroponic growers, which we do also use for our herbs in the kitchen. But it's comparable to that, but it has a whole lot more space, and it can be tucked away. So very multifunctional. You can use it for medium or for just growing in water and letting your stuff float in there. And we did end up using like some aquarium bubblers that would tuck under there and oxygenate the water. And then the best part is you could close this all together. You got your storage bin there, again, not taking up a whole lot of space, and you can stack them on top of each other. So this isn't the only one. We have 2 of these, but hypothetically, we could have had 4 or 6 of these all stacked up vertically and had a whole vertical garden taking up 2 by 4 feet in a closet. So, if this is you, if you don't have a garden or a patio, anything like that, but you have closet space, I know you do. Maybe, maybe not always, but most of you, 99% of you, should have at least some sort of space where you could fit one of these, right? So just imagine you could stack multiples of these. One of them you're growing tomatoes, one of them you're growing herbs, one of them you're growing like a dwarf squash or maybe a dwarf melon of sorts. It's possible. One of them you're growing ground cherries or golden berries or some sort of dwarf annual fruiting plant. So basically you could have fruits, vegetables, and herbs growing all together in a small space like that. It's absolutely incredible, and it doesn't even take as much space as this relatively small and very easy to set up pop-up greenhouse with a grow light at the top, which, if you're interested too, that's a Mars Hydro light. I had a lot of good luck with them. I'm not super experienced with grow lights, but between these two, I'm very happy with my choices because everything that's grown in these setups has grown really well, and they have not suffered from a lack of light. So these are things to consider if you're planning on doing something similar, or if you've just wanted to garden but you don't have the space. We actually had someone come to us at a farmer's market with that exact predicament. Oh, well, I don't have a yard and I don't have a patio. And I actually described this exact setup with these storage bins, where if you have the time and the creativity, and honestly, you don't even need that much of that either. You could even get some light bulbs and stick them in here. I mean, anything to get yourself a good amount of light in the space, growing medium, and water, fertilizer, of course, and you can grow in an indoor space like this. We are not limited by not having property or not having a patio or whatever the case is. You can grow in any situation if you want to nowadays. There's just so much at our disposal that you can find online to do this. Why not give it a try? So, if any of you guys are in that situation or you know someone who is, share this video with them. Maybe this will inspire you to do something similar, and maybe you can find yourself growing in just one of these little storage bins here with all these grow lights on top, and you can have some really great fresh produce. I assure you the quality is just as good as if it came out of your garden. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and found it informational as always. Something a little bit different to show you guys what we do here at the home. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye for now.